Did you know these beans can be eaten? This is Parkinsonia aculeata, or paloverde, from the color of its branches and trunks. And the Tohono O'odham, or Papago, ate the beans of this species. And the beans of two other Parkinsonia species, blue and yellow paloverde, were an important food resource of the Seri Indians in Mexico. So the general method of those tribes was to take the dried, mature pods, flail them and winnow the beans out, then parch and grind them into a meal, and then cook that meal into a gruel. The green seeds or beans of blue and yellow paloverde were also eaten by the Seri. And the ones of this species are pretty good. They taste kind of like edamame. They were also cooked into a stew by the Seri. The blue and yellow paloverde flowers were also eaten by the Seri, and I've tried them from this species, but they're rather bitter and insubstantial. They're interesting nonetheless. Here are the paloverde bean pods that I just cooked. Boiled them for about 10 minutes. Got some salt to put on top. And they're pretty good. They were already pretty good raw. Cooking them maybe gave them a little bit even milder taste and softened up the pods so they're easier to get out. So yeah, it's a lot like edamame. here are the paloverde beans. Cook these on the stove after grinding them up, and they got a pretty thick texture. Trying to make it like a gruel. They were really difficult to grind up. They were really hard, but I ended up just cooking them kind of crushed like that. And they're not too hard or anything after being cooked. They're maybe a little bit harder than some cooked beans, and they're rather glutinous, so not a bad texture. Their taste is rather mild, maybe a tiny bit bitter, but not too bad overall, I'd say. These aren't spiced at all, of course. So there's not even any salt in this, so perhaps after some spicing they'll be even more palatable. They've almost got a sort of sweet texture, sweet taste, given the texture. They're probably got a lot of carbohydrates in them and plenty of protein, it being a legume. So overall, not a bad food, rather nutritious. Maybe a little bit tastes like oatmeal, actually. Yeah, not too bad. Yeah, they're starting to grow on me. Even a little bit chia-like, I suppose. But they're definitely easier to process when they're green, because you can heat them raw, of course, but they're even better if you just boil them for a short time. It's really difficult to remove the mature beans from the mature pods, so you have to break them apart. I tried flailing them, but I ended up just doing a lot of it by hand, and then crushing them up takes a whole lot of effort. They're really hard, and I even threw a bunch in the food processor, and even that couldn't really deal with it much. Well, it was just a coffee grinder, but it couldn't deal with those very well. There's a lot of still hard parts left. So I think I would resort to the green ones if possible, but you can definitely still use the mature pods. Try to spice it up a bit. I think if I spice these like beans, they should be pretty good. Okay, I got salt, chili powder, and olive oil added. Pretty good. Definitely better than unspiced. Similar to just bean stew. I mean, it's definitely not as good as some beans my dad makes, but I could eat this all. Not bad. It's going to be a pretty filling dish here. This was from a small basket of the mature pods.